How does that look like for you with the association? How would that look? How would that be structured?
So let me first of all say I am open to all ideas and suggestions. I'm not going to dictate or tell anybody how it should
Sure,
be done. I
sure.
would just like to see it done, right? I mean
Okay.
that. I'd love to see some coming together, making things better. We do too much complaining. At a minimum, I think we could do things like having standards on what is a break, what is a breaker's responsibility, what's the back end, all the little things, and then maybe come up with a self licensing or certification. Or if I have a dream forward, right, it'd be that you have breakers who are members of the association. The association's open to any breaker who wants to do that. But if you do that, you open yourself up for an audit, which means your processes and procedures are audited, right? Your breakers would have to attend or participate in a online breaker 101,
Yep.
cards on camera, why it's important to do this, what is a sweat, all these little things, right? And then there'll always be feedback. How do we improve upon this? And the reason I'd say that is it gives confidence to your consumers,
Yeah.
right? So they feel that, hey, this breaker is associated with the Breakers Association of blank, 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 blank. And it gives more credibility. I think the manufacturer should get behind this as well and help support this and sponsor it. I don't think it should exclude anybody, right? I think all breakers should be allowed to participate or be a member, right? So I'm not going to have any barriers.
So no professional level of you need to achieve this level of whatever to get in here. Just
no, I think though, but one of the things that it can do, and I know one thing people talk about is what's the cost? How do you get that? Do you charge a fees? I don't know that answer. I think in the beginning you want to get as many people as you can, and you have it maybe community participation. It's a gratis type of service. At some point, maybe there is a fee or something. But I think again, the goal should be is looking towards making it better for the consumers, right? So the consumer has a place to complain. I'll go back in 2015. There was a website called Breaker Culture. It was run by Ty Wilson, by the way. And Ty Wilson is a guy who does cardboard, chasing cardboard.
Right.
Yep.
I used to be a big fan of breaking back in the day. And I used to write for him on that website, Breaker Culture. One thing he did a really great job of was he had reviews, and he had product reviews and breaker reviews up there. Now, he did admit that after a while it became a nightmare managing that, but some place where you could go and express, hey, I had a bad experience with this breaker, or this went wrong. Today, the community kind of does that, but kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. So having an association would be great. Also, an association could then follow up. Right. Sometimes there's these stories about, well, this breaker did this, like that breaker stole the Lamino James card. Well, actually, he didn't. Here's what actually happened. Right. Those things could be cleared up. So, and another thing I'll say too, the breaking community in general, we just have a very negative aura from some people in the hobby. Like there's a large part of the hobby who just hates breaking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't hate collectors. I don't hate anybody in this hobby, but there are people who hate breaking. So we need to work on that. I don't know how to work on that, but I think, again, if you have an association, maybe you're doing more in the fact that it's not about the breaker. It's about the guys buying into the product, right? Like one thing I think I mentioned national, I think it's kind of crazy when the breakers are always taking cameras. Like, look what I pulled. Great. So you were present when that box was open. Again, I'm sorry. I don't want to ruin anybody's dreams. I mean, sometimes maybe I picked this case and then Mary comes in later and she picked the other one. So I picked the wrong one. Yeah. Okay. I picked the wrong one, but I didn't do anything as a breaker. I'd rather hear about the guy who won the card. You know what I mean? And I will say, I feel like back in the day, 2015, 16, 17, I remember being in there where you knew there were certain whales in the room, big guys, and you knew them only by their name, their tag or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see more concentration on that. Like we talk about the guys buying the big singles and buying these big auctions. Well, I want to hear about the guy getting the breaking turn, buying big breaks. And I mentioned, I'd like to see breaking tournaments. I'd like to see breaking be very much like poker is, right?
Yeah.
Where you're going to poker tournaments. I'd like to see the strategy. Like, for example, I have a dream of like the weekend that Chrome opens up. I've already bought all my spots for the PYT, and now I'm waiting for the board to light up and see how many points I score. And that is something they could do at the National or Fanatics Fest. Think about that.
Yeah,
that would happen on that weekend.
Black Gold, who we just had on, he was just at a breaker.
I think it might be internal because they've got 20 on staff, so I think they've got enough to like almost do their own internal.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another group that did something similar too, but I'm saying, wouldn't it be great though if the National did that?
Oh yeah,
Fanatics Fest, right? And then you make a tournament. So there's like someone's walking, like they gave a trophy to what's his name, the Hollywood Joe dude for the most streams. I mean, let's give a trophy to the guy who put thousands of dollars into breaks and hit a freaking superfractor and an RPA. I want him to have a trophy. You see what I'm saying? I want the attention on the guys. And I think if you do that, then this becomes more exciting. I envision in the future, then I'm a sponsored guy getting into breaks, right? I'm sponsored by PSA. And this week I'll be buying into the Breaker 500. So I think the opportunity for braking is amazing. Transparency, growth, community coming together, association.
I see a league, man, like a
Yeah.
braking league.
Yeah.
Yes. You could have East Coast, West Coast league. You have a Southern league, right? Come out of there with the most points. And again, you could do these, for example, you could do them either at events or you could do them at product releases, right? There's so many different ways you could score these things, and you could have international ones.
Ziggy, what are you waiting on, man? Launch this business. We're here with you. Launch it. Let's go, man. If you're not listening to Ziggy, listen, man, you have big ideas. I'm gonna start bringing us down here because we're gonna wrap up. But I see you coming back on the show. I love the way you think. I
would love to be here back, guys. I love your show. Love your show.
Well, I appreciate that. I love disruptors. We actually just had a meeting with a company to be named later, and the guy's a big disruptor. I like disruptors. People that want to change things, not for the sake of being from a negative place, but to make it better, right?
Yep.
So I think you said at the beginning when we started talking, people like the way things are. That's why there hasn't been new money, corporate money involved. But when you start injecting ideas like this to disrupt the landscape for the right reasons, yeah, it's going to be met with, I don't like this, but eventually it'll all work itself out. It'll work at, collectors will love breakers and breakers will love collectors. Everybody will be happy. There's a place for everyone. RJ, you were going to say something.
I'm just going just cycling through all this stuff. Like, I'm just thinking of what is that next thing? What is at some point will like a Whatnot or someone get allocation and then they can start giving it to breakers that are on their network to pull in people to do things like that. Right. Like what can we do to make stuff more accessible for people like that? Cause I know like even with like Topps Fanatics, right? Like Matt and I couldn't get, allocation right now. Right. There's no way to go through those tiers. But like, how come there's not a tiered system where like, yeah, you got your big players that get your allocation, but at the same time, like maybe there's a wholesale program where I have to pay $150 annually, but I get 10% off now or 15% off. Like they're going to still sell wholesale, right? But then, is that going to ruffle feathers with Steel City, Dave and Adams, like the larger players that have large, pockets to kind of buy this product. And it was just funny because Topps released Finest the other day. And I was lucky enough to get 2 boxes when it released for, $300 a box. Right. And I was all excited. I was like, Matt, I got 2. This is great. Let's, we'll run through this at some point this weekend. But I had to go through my past emails and I came across an invoice from a case that we bought like 2 years ago of Finest. And it was $175 a box. And I'm like, Matt, it's the same thing. It's the same cardboard. The design's slightly different. The autos, it's that, Matt's like, but it's that the money grab of the hobby, that side of like
the same industry.
Right. Exactly. That, push up, the escalation up. And that's when I was just like, man, cause we use like, the company called Shells for like our insert for our like sleeves and stuff like that. And I bought into their wholesale program just because we get like an extra 10 or 15% off. And it opens up avenues to being like, if I got into breaking or I wanted mass product, now it gives me an opportunity to like, reduce my bottom line to hopefully give you a better price on the other end. And I don't have to come in and charge 3 times what a box is, because after I pay commission and after I do all this stuff, that's going to, cut off a leg if I'm trying to get more product for us to break, or if, at some point people that just feed their family with it too. It's crazy.
Yeah. The allocation thing is a very interesting battle. And I think that's only getting more complicated. Like, let's be honest, Tom Brady is going to get a lot of allocation.
Yep.
Yeah, of course he is.
Like it's just an interesting space. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know.
Yeah, as RJ was talking about the Whatnot getting an allocation, what about, let's fuse the ideas here. You got a guy that hit, the leaderboard, somehow you say, by the way, now you get a case of whatever you want this year at whatever cost, because you're a little guy, you competed and you hit a big card. I don't know. Maybe you make it some sort of an award system as well. I don't know. Lots of ideas.
They've got a lot of creative ideas they could do. Before I forget, when your last guy you had on, I loved how he shared his security system.
Yeah.
Right. And that one thing I'd recommend to him, if he's listening, we're building another studio out. I'm building out all the security cameras, and my goal is to have those security cameras available on the web. I want them to be available possibly to the public, but to a minimum to our customers, so they can see the entire time of the card, right? From breaking to sorting to shipping. It would always be transparent cameras on the entire thing. I think that's something that breakers are probably on the brink of doing already. If they're not, I know a lot of them have to deal with the sorting and the shipping. They use video. But again, I think, that's another area you can add confidence to your customer by making those videos available, right? And that's something too, association could help you with, right? Explaining, how do you set up this? How do you do that? What's this offer to your customers? Hey, this breaker has, online real lifetime tracking of all products. There's certain things that I think, again, innovation, differentiate the space. That's a low hanging fruit one right there. Just making it available on the web.
Man, Ziggy, too many ideas, man. My brain is mush.
And I'll
I
tell
love
you
it.
too, I really just want people to do it. In my personal life, I've got a lot going on. In fact, you mentioned the prices of wax. I think to myself, I'm in sales and cybersecurity, and one thing I've seen companies do is they miss forecast. And really, the company needs to start looking at forecasting based on the rookie class, and they don't do that. Like every year, the product goes up. But guys, this rookie class sucks. We know why last year's rookie class was so expensive is because there was demand. And they foolishly throwing that out of, taking that into their consideration, I think is a concern. Like they should talk about that. Hey, we're projecting next year's rookie class to be a B, which means print runs will be in the B. We don't have to expose it, but just let you know as a collector that it's going to be a B. You know what I'm saying? There's things they could do to do a better job on that pricing. Also, then I look, it can also help on printing. Right? Do you want to do more allocations? Okay, we have a down year. We're going to increase allocations for 1 year because of this change in the market. But be transparent about that, right? Higher demand class, you're kind of like the national where you have so many tables, and if you're not in the venue with number of tables, you get cut off as a dealer, right? So you can do a similar thing based on the rookie class.
That's an interesting perspective.
Again, I think they should be more transparent to on print run. And I also think we should use AI to make them more transparent on print run, right? AI can help you calculate what print runs are. And if we know what their print runs are, that helps us get a better idea of what we're buying. And I don't know why they don't share print runs. Again, I'd go back to that's something I think should be, I don't know, regulated, but I don't eat a hamburger and not know what the hell you made it out of. I should know what's in my hamburger.
Yeah. I mean, you're spending your money. That you would think that would be kind of an important aspect, right? What am I buying?
Even in the casino world, you can't sit down at a blackjack table with an infinite number of cards in that shoe.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's a better example.
So those are things like I'll say, I'd like to see that type of regulation. Like that would make things almost more fun in a way, right? Anyway.
No, hey, we got a billion ideas. We're going to have you back for sure. But if you're out there listening, if you want to get smarter in the hobby, check out what Ziggy's doing on YouTube. All of his other links will be in the show notes, but check him out. Appreciate you being on, and I appreciate the opinions and the disruptive nature of what you're trying to do. You're trying to get people to think. It comes from a good place, and I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Really enjoyed this. I do hope to be back on, and if I'm not, it's okay, and I will definitely be commenting for a long time. And I strongly, strongly recommend every breaker check out and subscribe to what you guys are doing and help out in any way.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot, guy.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Brakes. We appreciate you being here with us and helping us grow this community. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.
Make sure to like, follow, or subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one.